No, your video isn't broken. This is me just making sure I get my thumbnail shot in. Hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is another rapid fire review, this time for Yomi 2. Not Yomi 2nd edition, we've had that already. This is Yomi 2. I should note before we begin, this is a prototype, all rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. Yomi 2 Road to Morningstar is, well, I guess the newest iteration of Yomi. There was Yomi from Sirloin Games, there was Yomi 2, and now there's Yomi Road to Morningstar. I haven't played the first two, was always heavily aware of them, but never actually got to table them, but I have played this both competitive and solo as well. The general idea of Yomi, to drill it down to its basic, most simplest idea, this is a rock, paper, scissors game with a whole lot of characters and a whole lot of card comboing. You're going to have all your characters over here, or in our case we have Valerie and Rook facing off against each other as the two head-to-head players, and the general idea is you're trying to choose your cards, play your cards, knowing that you hope to combo into cards that will deal a bunch of damage, which is important because Rook currently has 100 health tracked over here. I only have 80. Well, that's a little off over there. I only have 80, so I need to be mindful of not losing my health because I'm a little weaker. I'm a glass cannon. That's not entirely true. I'm all about the combos as opposed to Rook is all about that sheer strength. But you're going to go ahead and play cards. Players are going to select a card, so I'm going to go ahead and select my card over here. I'm going to play it face down over here. They're going to select their card. I'm just choosing from here so you can see how it works, but they'd be choosing from their hand. I'm going to go ahead and reveal my card, and I have a throw, and they have a block. Ooh, that's a good one for me because there's a cycle in how this game works. You're going to play a card hoping to combo into more damage. Before we get into how that works, the main thing you need to know is that there's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors mechanism going on. You have throws beat blocks and evades. Blocking and evading are how you avoid, well, attacks, but throws are going to beat blocks and evades. Attacking beats throws. If I try to throw you and you go in just for a straight jab, you're going to go ahead and stomp on me. But then blocking and evading can block throws, can block attacks. Blocking and evading can block attacks. Specifically, there are high blocks and low blocks that will block the respective attacks and also let you draw a card and get that card back in their hand. And then there's evades, which actually, if you manage to accomplish an evade, you actually get to go ahead and hit back and initiate your own little combo off of that. And so you are trying to figure out what the right pattern, what's your opponent likely to do based on their character, based on their hand size, and of course based on the little mental mind game of what they did last turn, what you did last turn, and who's going to react better based off of that. So again, you're trying to play a card, you play your opener, it is a turn phase, so let's say it's my turn right now, I would go ahead and draw two cards, or one card if it's the first turn of the game. I would go ahead and draw two cards, I would choose a card to go ahead and play, and then they go ahead and choose their card to play, and then we combo. Someone's going to launch into the combo depending on who got through. In my case, since a throw beats a block, I'm going to go ahead and follow up with my combo. Now over here, my throw to a block over here, you can see exactly what a combo changed towards. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and combo into a white burst over here. Can I do that? No, I can't do that. It's going to be an opener. Never mind. Ignore that. Ignore that. I'm going to combo into a power attack over here, which you can see over here. This is that little circle. That combos straight to a circle, and so you know that I can go ahead and combo into this power attack and deal 7 damage. So again, the general sequence of how this game plays is you're trying to manage your hand. You're trying to manage your character's abilities. You're trying to manage your opponent's abilities, but you're going to do that by playing an opener, and if you get through, you're going to try to go ahead and accomplish your damage. Now, there's a lot more going on as far as the nuances, a lot of abilities on these cards. You're also going to be starting the game by taking your character and then combining them with one of many gem colors over here. So you have all these different gem colors. You're going to add 5 cards from a gem color into your deck. That gives a little bit of a flavor customization. So for example, Valerie, in her case, she likes doing lots of combos. Her thing's all about the combo-tastic goodness, including breaking rules as far as how certain combos work. But that also means that I think that she pairs well with white gems because the white gems give you a lot of card draw if you get off their abilities right. So that's going to be a little bit element there of trying to figure out what the right gem color is to combo into your own deck or how you play that character. That's the basic idea of Yomi. There's a few other things going on. There's going to be the abilities on the various characters. There's going to be the whole breakdown of their cards over here. There's going to be special moves. We haven't talked about projectiles, which have a slightly different way they work from a standard attack. But the general idea is you are trying to manage your hand, play cards, anticipate your opponent, and chain into combos while managing your hand size. Doing too many combos, you're going to run out of cards. So you actually need to block effectively to be able to get cards back into your hand and or use other abilities such as the white gems and all those abilities to make sure your cards, your hand is managed well, that you can actually get off all those combos. That is the two-player version of Yomi. This is where I'm going to gather these cards, put them off to the side, and show you how the single player works because it's basically the same idea, but with some small differences to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather this playmat because I'll show you what I do for over here. I set up these decks in a way that's actually a little bit annoying to do this properly, so we're going to move some decks around. What I tend to do is I tend to put this over the other deck. So we're gonna go, oh, my deck's sliding off over here. But basically, I layer the deck of the second deck underneath the first deck, or playmat, I should say. I layer the second playmat underneath the first playmat, and that way, I can track my opponent's health over here. So let's say I'm playing as Fox Primus over here. The game, or at least the prototype, comes with 5 different character strengths. Fox Primus being a level 2 difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and set his health to 70 over here. And so I can track his health on the side while tracking my own health over here. And so that's the basic aspect of what I'm doing over there. Although the same basic principles are going to be at play. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select a card from my hand. So maybe I go ahead and select a low block over here as my card. And then I select this die and I roll it. They start with a hand size of 7 over here. I think it was 7. I have to double check the hand size. Let's go ahead and put it at 9. Yeah, I think this actually starts at a hand size of 9. We're going to go ahead and roll the die. And over here, they're going to be doing 6. 6 is the die roll. But you go to look at their hand over here. And actually, they're going to do a low attack right now. This worked out really well for me. Because if you look at where their hand size is, and again, where the die is, they're doing a low attack where they would combo into BXDE. This is kind of an abstraction of what we're doing otherwise. But effectively, they would combo into a bunch of chains. But because I blocked them, I can go ahead and with block an attack, I draw a card, and then I return this to my hand if I didn't get hit, and I can also punish block moves with a full combo over here. And so that's the idea of how you're managing the opponent. Now, there's a few other things to get into because he didn't land his attack that I'll show you, but effectively, they're going to ignore their card draw, and this is effectively simulating the hand size over here. So normally you'd be drawing cards and spending cards, but they're going to skip that except when they get combos off. Because in theory, every turn they are playing a card, and on their turn they're drawing 2 cards, so it balances out over time, so the game just skips that to give you less paperwork. But if they do land a combo, because again, you're going to be looking over here and seeing what they do, let's say they had landed that low attack over here. Then right here, what they'd be doing is they'd be doing 21 damage because they'd be hitting with A, and then chaining into BXDE over there. It's very small text, but you can see over there, BXD, they'd be chaining into that, and then because they played all those cards, we'd lower their hand size by 4, so we would drop down to 5, which is actually not great against Fox Primus, because if he'd ever go below 5 cards, he instead sets his hand size to 10. So effectively, he can reset once he goes below 5, which is a problem and makes him a little challenge to play against. But the general idea is it simulates the combos by when they actually get their combos off, it simulates the playing of their cards, and then you go ahead and, carry all that out. That is basically how you play Yomi 2-player as well as solo, which I guess is time to dive into the rapid fire review format and all that, starting off with the am I keeping it? And the short answer is no, I don't think this is a game for me. Why or why not? Ultimately, the game feels far more complicated than I personally get value from, considering the main mechanism is kind of a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. Ultimately, it comes down to trying to predict what my opponent, or the random die roll, and to be fair, the random die roll at least has a little bit more odds where you can take a look and see, oh, we're much more likely to play a block over here, much more likely to play an attack over here, so there's a little bit more odds going on here. Although to an extent, that can also simulate reading your opponent based on the current game situation. But ultimately, the main mechanic comes down to rock, paper, scissors, and there's a lot of comboing and abilities after that, but it meant that for me, winning felt as unsatisfying as losing because it didn't feel like I earned the win, no differently than it didn't feel like I earned the loss. As far as other similar games, if you want a rock, paper, scissors game that is going to give you a much simpler, more straightforward, shorter game, check out Kiri-Eye the Duel from Lucky Duck Games. And if you want a combo character system that's going to give you what this does with still that mind game of reading your opponent, but a little less directly rock, paper, scissors, check out the Exceed system. The Exceed system has a lot of characters, a lot of depth to it. Check out that one as well. As far as a counter opinion, this is not a game for me. Why might it be a game for you? First of all, beautiful art, the production, the sheer character variety. I've actually played with these characters in Flash Duel as well as Puzzle Strike, so I've actually gotten to know these characters, and I like the little bit of lore and building around them. This is a fun world that you're diving into, so that is a good starting point. But then more importantly, I do think this is a game that would reward a lot of repeated plays and getting to know the characters. I think there are playstyles to the character, and if you know that you're fighting against Valerie in the white gem deck, you're going to play differently than if you're playing against Jaina with the purple gems. There is depth to learning the characters and learning their unique playstyles, why they are slightly more likely to do one thing over the other, when they're trying to get their special moves in. And so for me, it kind of devolves to rock, paper, scissors because I don't have that full depth of knowing the characters and knowing the experience. If you're going to dive into this as a repeated game, you're playing against people who know the systems, I think you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of the nuances of the system. As far as rating and final thoughts, I've been interested in Yomi since I first got into the hobby. This has been out for a very long time, and I've always been intrigued by the game, always been a little pushed away by the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, but interested in how it does a lot with that, and so I jumped at the opportunity to cover this game. Ultimately, for me, I think I prefer my rock, paper, scissors mechanics to be much quicker and easier games, as opposed to the potential depth you might get out of this, but you need to invest a lot more into the system to see that experience. For me, it's coming in at a 3 out of 5. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you got value out of this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.